What would you like to see in the next plan of conservation and development?
I like many of the aspects of the 2019 Plan of Conservation and Development. Some of the things that well, certainly I think the town needs to think about the burden, the economic burden that's being put on homeowners relative to the commercial base of the town. And so I do think we need to thoughtfully develop, and I hope that the next Plan of Conservation and Development addresses ways that we can thoughtfully develop. So, within the Wilton Town Center, that's the area where, on a per square foot basis, the town can generate the most tax revenue. I would hope that we can, within that Plan of Conservation and Development, find a way to attract more consistent businesses to come to the town center. One of the things that was mentioned in the last one that I hope we can further build on is perhaps a way to get some of the traffic that's coming down Route 7. We have high volume of traffic coming through down Route 7 that maybe originally was not planning on stopping within Wilton, but they go right past our town center, often having no idea that there is a town center nearby. So is there a way that maybe we can make signs or sidewalks or landscape in a certain way that invites those people to come and potentially spend money and increase traffic in the town center so that we can have more restaurants and stores? Beyond that, other things that I hope maybe we could consider, maybe some more mixed use residential, commercial development, again to appropriately build in, appropriately grow the town, grow residents in the town, but also invite businesses to be close by to those residents so that those establishments are well supported. The last POCD talked about creating building up residents along transit-oriented corridors. I think that's an area that we can hope to further develop. People that commute either to Stamford or people that commute to New York City are likely to want to be around those transit-oriented corridors. So is there a way that we can develop there in an area which already has a good bit of traffic, doesn't change the character of other parts of the town, and really can create that extra tax base that we need here in the town. And then lastly, just looking at the physical environment of the town, I hope we can continue to build trails. I know the Norwalk River Valley Trail was really key during the pandemic, and it showed how important that was. Other things that were suggested in the past, things like a river walk, that's something that I know it's been talked about for a very long time. I would love to see that be developed and part of that plan. And then lastly, athletic facilities. We have a very high participation in the town, particularly from young families in athletics. I know we all agree that education is clearly very important in the town. I view athletics as a very important extracurricular addendum to athletics. We've identified needs to invest in our schools, which obviously is critically important, but I would say the need to invest in fields, turf fields, lighted fields, creating additional fields, creating facilities for players. I think those are things that parents in the town, and I have 2 kids myself who are travel soccer players within Wilton. I know we and many of the other parents of our teammates would appreciate those as well. So again, I think it's just thinking about what that residential mix is. How do we enhance further feed into and enhance the environment that we're fortunate to have here in Wilton, and then improve some of the specific facilities that, or infrastructure that all the town can benefit from and use.
Mr. McCarty?
I just want to start and say how disappointed I was last night in reading how the lighting for the Wilton Field was disapproved because it violated one of the P&Z, I guess, one of the regulations in town. I think there's already a lot of lighting towers around Wilton Field athletic facility. I think it's already concentrated there. And I think to make better use, more complete use of those facilities, we need to find a way to get those lighting towers approved. It's in an area where there already are lighting towers. I agree that the Plan of Conservation and Development should focus on town center. We need to have a town center that attracts people to our businesses, to enable businesses to succeed, that attracts people to our restaurants, to enable those restaurants to succeed. In talking to ownership at some of my favorite restaurants in town, they talk about the difficulty in providing, outdoor seating. They talk about the difficulty in providing views from their other places that have outdoor seating, and providing their views to the natural environment around them. I think we need to facilitate through the plan of conservation and development, business development as well. Where I live in town, I have one of the paths that goes basically through my backyard in many respects, down from School Road down to Merwin Meadows. And it's a beautiful facility. We see people, we see the campers from the day camp going down that path to Merwin Meadows each summer to go swimming. Well, maybe not this summer if you didn't go swimming. I don't know why we didn't get that fixed in time, but it is an important resource to consider, the natural environment in which we live. How do we attract businesses? There are ways we should be employing to meet with chambers of commerce, to meet with developers, and try to figure out how we can occupy these buildings. How many times do you just go to New Canaan to walk on the business street, stick your head in the store, buy something, go to J. Crew, go to one of the restaurants along there. It's a place to go, a place to hang out. We have our donuts, we have our village market, but it's really hard to see where people can come to Wilton to walk around and spend money and enjoy a downtown. I think the plan of conservation and development needs to focus on that kind of development.
Mr. Warren?
A couple of things. I guess in a broader sense, I would say, when you read the plan of conservation and development, particularly from 2019, there's a lot of great things in there. So why haven't we done them? That's the issue. They're just not done. There's a lot of great things, and if you've read it, a lot of people read it, oh, this is great, but nothing is happening, and that's what needs to change. I'm on the Economic Development Commission. We had done a survey to local businesses, and as usual, what came up is visibility of town center. It's something that we focused on. We've done a sign study. We have a proposal now that's going to be presented to the Board of Selectmen to provide signs on Route 7, some of the other entrances to town center. The difficulty is that they're state roads, so it has to go through the State Department of Transportation. There's safety issues. There's a lot of bureaucracy, as you might guess. But if you look at the Economic Development Commission's minutes, you'll see the example in there, an example of the sign that we're proposing. So we are trying to do those things, because I agree the importance of town center, getting more traffic to town center is important. In terms of the sports, I wholeheartedly agree with everything that was said. And quite frankly, I was passionate about it before last night in the article from Good Morning Wilton on the lights this morning. It's actually in my op-ed that's coming out on October 20th, the importance of the sports field. I submitted it on Monday. But I agree with all this. I mean, the lighting's obvious, and I truly feel that it just has to get done through planning and zoning now, through a text amendment, but it has to be done. There's no reason for it not to be done. And it was interesting because when I read the article from Good Morning Wilton, I thought, well, I'm just going to look and see what the history is. Wow, almost 2 years ago, same month, same issue, there was $500,000 reallocated from the Middlebrook fields to the lighting at Whitten Field. What's happened? Nothing. 2 years of back and forth and some very, very unhappy people, a lot of unhappy athletes. So I think that in particular needs to be focused on it. I agree with the sports field. The bubble failed. The bubble, I think there's a lot of angst over that. I think that's something that could be revisited. When I look at just talking to people in the town, somebody, I don't know, a while ago had posted something on Facebook. What do you like about Wilton? Sports, Ambler Farm, and education. And they're right. Those are, when you talk to people, those are the three things. And sports is so important for so many reasons beyond just the sport itself, the camaraderie, the things that you learn, being an athlete and going to school, and all those things are very important, and I think they're beneficial. We talk about trying to attract younger people, keep young families, affordability in Wilton. That's what they want. When you look at it going to the town meeting this past year, we approved $700,000 for the new turf field. If you look at the voting on those, the highest yes votes was for the sports field, by kind of far. The second highest was Ambler Farm, and the others were quite a bit lower. So it's clear that it's very important to people, and it's something that I think the town needs to focus on.
Yes.
I'm going to focus on two words, not done. There are many things in town that get approved, and they just don't get done. Whether it's the turf field, whether it's Ambler Farm. For anyone who went to the town meeting and saw the unbridled, no pun intended for the farm, the unanimous support for Ambler Farm, and to still have the lease, being called a lease, it's really more a property management agreement with the Friends of Ambler Farm, muddling along, and to me, is almost unforgivable in certain ways. Because Ambler Farm is one of the biggest assets that we have in town, and we need to move that forward. In addition, there's the issue of the so-called yellow house at Ambler Farm. It's been before the Capital Planning Committee, and at that meeting, the chair of that committee talked about the terrible condition that that house is in. If we were to fix that house, even if we bond money to fix that house, the rent from renting that house to an occupant can more than cover the charge. Let's get away from not done, and let's get more moving forward to get